Preview.
So Dan, preparations for the new Super League season, can you just tell us a little bit about what's been going on behind the scenes?
Yeah, it's been a really busy time over the past couple of months, to be honest, in preparing, obviously, the program that we're planning to build at Leeds Rhinos for the athletes, and also, obviously, a pretty hectic recruitment period as well. So no rest for the wicked whatsoever. We've done a great job, I think, in recruiting a really exciting team in some pretty challenging circumstances, and also really looking forward to rolling out our full-time program, which is probably something that we really want to, I guess, be proud of as a franchise as to what we can offer and what we can deliver for athletes. So a lot of work has been happening lately, and it's getting closer and closer now to actually the fun stuff beginning, which we can't wait for.
When it comes to recruitment, being a new team, does it pose challenges that you're trying to sell a vision to people that might not necessarily know much about the team? Have you been encouraged by how people have bought into it already?
Yeah, I think for any head coach, there's nothing worse than a recruitment period. It's a hectic time, as I said, but it's also extremely challenging. And I think too, when you add the complications of a COVID pandemic, and then also the fact that the previous season, this year's season, only lasted 2 to 3 rounds. So, athletes obviously hadn't finished out their experience with their previous clubs, and obviously a lot of uncertainty around a new franchise coming into the competition as well. So it certainly posed its challenges. However, what I knew that we could offer from a programming and environment perspective would be world-class and first-class, and that obviously was our priority from the very beginning. And a part of the recruitment strategy for us was to recruit athletes that were willing and wanting to invest in a full-time training program. We have training set out across a 7-day week with commitments for athletes, 5 of those 7 days with rest days and wellness days involved there. And our number one priority was to ensure that we wanted athletes that were really keen to professionalize their own approach to trainings, and we hope that in turn that will fast track the development of some of the athletes that we have in our squad. So it's an exciting time, and I'm glad that recruitment is over, because it's certainly not easy, but I'm really pleased with the quality that we've managed to recruit, and also the purposes behind those athletes that are coming in and investing in our program. Because at the end of the day, if we can build a really strong, sustainable program that gives athletes all of the different service requirements they need to be professional athletes, we're doing a good job, and I'm proud that we can actually offer that in our first year.
Can you tell us a little bit about the qualities of the players, of what you're looking at in a player when you're trying to recruit them?
Yeah, it's really multifactorial, to be honest, when you're recruiting, and particularly when you're recruiting from scratch with no players, I guess, already on the list. It really is quite complicated. And I guess, the domino effect of if you sign one player, it means 2, 3, 4 players come, or if you miss out on one athlete, it means a few drop out, and things change all the time. But I think for me, there's a couple of elements that are really important. Obviously, talent and ability is critical when it comes to professional sporting environments. However, I think what's also important from my perspective in this league here is potential. And I think what good coaching can do in the UK Super League is really develop and foster emerging talent that perhaps hasn't had the platform to really showcase their skill set. And that was one of the things that I wanted to make sure that, I guess, we stamped our authority and identity around as a new team, is this being an opportunity for those players that perhaps haven't had the exposure at previous franchises for whatever reason. So talent is important, but I think potential and growth potential is just as important in my perspective. And also I think from a cultural perspective too, you really need to look at those athletes that are willing to invest and commit, not just to the program, but to the community and to the club. And obviously the attraction of Leeds Rhinos being a really powerful sporting brand here in Leeds, it's so important that we have athletes that are willing to play a role in the development of netball throughout the club as well. So that's really important for me. So the character element of the individuals that you get are absolutely critical. And I think if you can combine a really good character with an athlete that's got talent and potential, you're halfway there to getting them across the line in terms of results on the board. So it's a difficult one, but I really am excited by, I guess, probably the biggest theme of the group, of this being an opportunity for everyone to showcase something that perhaps they haven't shown before. And, we're very unknown. We're very unknown in my own mind as to how it's all going to evolve, because we've never seen these players play together before. But I think that project and that experience itself is something that we're all really looking forward to.
Could you share a little bit with people, what the vision is and what you want, ideally, your Leeds Rhinos netball team to look like?
Yeah, I think probably one of the biggest things with the vision is that it's not a short-term focus. It's really about sustainability across an extended period of time. And we haven't gone out and looked to purchase a premiership winning team in the opening year. We've looked at a team that is going to be, we think, highly competitive and potentially can do anything. We just don't know, but also has a lot of growth potential year on year. Because sustainability, I think, for a new franchise coming in has to be one of the most important elements of I guess, being successful over a number of period of years. So that's obviously one of the key visions for us. That it's not just about here and now, it's about what we can do moving forward together, and having that, I guess, patient approach that success doesn't necessarily happen overnight, but there might be small wins that happen all the time. But we need to make sure that our vision is cast a little bit longer than the immediate future. And I think to our vision too is we really want to pride ourselves on the program that we deliver. We really want to be able to professionalise an environment where an athlete can come to Leeds Rhinos, focus on being a professional netballer, be immersed in a training environment that is replicated in what you would expect in Australia or New Zealand, where those environments are very professional. And that was one of my, I guess, non-negotiables with the club, that I wanted to deliver that program, and they've been unbelievably supportive in doing that. And the fact that the rugby club are high performance professionals, they understand elite sport incredibly well. So that is something of a legacy that we want to hold dear as a franchise. The programming really important, but also the players too, that this is a platform and opportunity to showcase a skill set that perhaps hasn't been demonstrated elsewhere before. So the vision is pretty bold and it's pretty ambitious. But at the end of the day, when you're working in professional sport, you've got to aim big and you've got to dream high. So that's what we're doing, and we'll follow the process and see where it takes us.
Excellent. And then just finally, without giving anything away, because we'll be hearing some announcements over the next couple of weeks, can you tell us a little bit about the squad that you've recruited?
Yeah, so obviously we've recruited a team of 10 and 5 training partners that will all be announced in the coming weeks. And I think the squad, really fortunate as to the group that we've selected, and also the group that selected us to be their new netball home, which I think is really important. Recruitment goes two ways. It's not just the club wanting the athlete, but the athlete also wanting the club and the franchise. So really pleased with the group that we've got together for this foundation year, which I think is going to be really exciting. We'll obviously have a couple of international imports in there, some really senior established players that I think all the fans will be really keen to see. And probably the biggest mix of the group is the emerging next generation talent, which was one of the key strategies in our recruitment period. And a lot of athletes sitting around their early 20s that have, I guess, scratched the surface of having experience in Super League, but not yet really, I guess, smashing through the glass ceiling and having consistent court time or consistent opportunities. And we've made some bold selections on certain athletes in backing them in, and they've backed us in as well. And hopefully it comes into fruition in a really successful campaign. Whatever success looks like will be determined in due course.
And we spoke with Francine a couple of weeks ago, and she was talking about the trials, and she's really been encouraged by the amount of people that have signed up for them. That's really a good sign, isn't it, that people across the county and young athletes are already interested in being part of the Leeds Rhinos netball family, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the interest of Leeds Rhinos netball across the region has been fantastic, to be honest. And obviously Yorkshire's been hanging for elite netball for a number of years now. And, the build up to Super League of Rhinos entering the competition has been, on the cards for a while now, but we're now getting so close. We're a couple of weeks away from starting training. So I think what's really important from the overall franchise's perspective is that any athlete that now enters our performance pathway programs from under 15s upwards now has something to aspire to, and there's light at the end of the tunnel as to where the pathway and the journey could take them. And we know from a pathway perspective, we want to have as many of our pathway athletes knocking on the door of Super League selection in the years to come. We want to close the gap between the pathway to the high performance, very professional level. And we've got some projects in place to ensure that we can do that. And also we want to get as many of our young athletes in the England system, in the England programs as well. So we're pretty bold and ambitious as to what we want to achieve in the pathway sense. But now where we have, I guess, the full circle package where we can offer an athlete the entire experience of being a netballer through the pathway, I think is going to make a massive difference to their journeys. And also I think the buy-in from the community around what Leeds Rhinos netball can do, not just for netball, but I think for women's sport throughout the region too. So it's a really exciting time for everyone.